Hi, Jennifer. How are you today?
I'm all right.
You're okay?
Yes.
Just wanted to let you know that everything that we discussed today is totally confidential unless I feel that you're going to do some harm to yourself, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so how are things? Let's just recap your last visit. How are things going at the job? You were telling me that you were really stressed out, you were
Mhm.
dealing with a lot of anxiety at your job, and it was very overwhelming.
Mhm.
So, how are you today? How's things at the job?
So it has not gotten better at all. I think that it's gotten worse. I feel like my health is kind of deteriorating, my mental health. So I am really concerned about that.
So, it's gotten worse since our last visit.
Mhm.
You feel like your mental health is deteriorating.
Mhm.
What about your physical health?
I feel fine. Well, I mean, I'm tired and stressed, and I think the anxiety from my job is giving me some physical, feelings like my chest is tight or like things like that. So like some anxiety symptoms, which are physical.
Okay, so you are dealing with mental and physical.
Mhm.
What do you think that you can do to manage your anxiety a little better?
On the way here, I was actually trying to kick some of that anxiety because I didn't want to come, to our session and be all a big ball of anxiety. So I was trying to breathe and, take some deep breaths and put on music and, try to just not think about what happened and just move forward. So I'm going to try to do that. But it's kind of been affecting me outside of work. 'Cause when I get home, I'm so drained and stressed from work that, I'm very irritable and I don't want to be like that.
Okay, so you said you try to listen to music and breathe to de stress, like
Mm-hmm.
release a lot. I noticed the last time that we spoke, I asked you if the stress was carried at home, and
Mm-hmm.
you said no. So now you feel as if it is affecting your home?
Mm-hmm.
In what
Definitely.
ways?
Well, like when I come home, I'm very short with my son, because he is having some struggles focusing. I think he has ADHD, so I'm kind of dealing with that. But he's very inattentive. So if I tell him to do something, it's like a project.
Okay.
So, or if we sit down and do homework, it's an argument. And so instead of me being like usually how I'm patient and I'm I can deal with things I can deal with things when I come home from work. I'm short with my son, and then I'm short with my boyfriend, and everybody's annoying me, and it's just making me not the kind of person that I like to be.
Okay. So you're dealing with it at home. You're short with your boyfriend. You're short with your son.
Mhm.
You have a lot of stress going on at home
Mhm.
and at the job.
Mhm.
How can we, how do you feel that you can avoid from bringing the stress at home? If the breathing and the music is not working before you get home, how do you think, what methods do you think that you could come up with to separate the two?
Maybe I could, come home and kind of have 20 minutes to myself, go sit in my room or go lay down, or just before anybody talks to me, I just need 20 minutes by myself,
Okay.
to kind of get out of work mode into how, family mode,
Okay.
because it's hard to separate yourself from that.
Right. So do you think that 20 minutes would be enough? Is that an okay time frame to start you out with?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I really don't have any more time than that, because by the time we get home, you got to get things going with, dinner and homework and getting ready for the next day. So by the time I get home, 20 minutes, not that I would like to take longer, but I just don't have the time.
So what stress has increased? What kind of of situations of each matter that is increasing your stress at work? What's being different from the first session? What's being done different?
I think that my boss has become very overwhelmed with the department. She she wasn't always the director. She's actually a new director for this department, and she used to work at a totally separate department within the VNA. And she took this job by thinking, oh, I like a challenge. And I think that she's realizing this is more than a challenge, more of a challenge than she would have liked. Our department's in $300,000 something in debt. So all of our numbers and schedules and hours and people we're admitting are scrutinized and very looked under a microscope and analyzed, which is, I mean, in all honesty, that's what needs to be done because the department's failing. So I think that has created more of a stressful environment for my boss, who then in turn takes it out on the staff.
Okay. So you have a new director who felt like she could take on the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Your department is $350,000 in debt,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just really overwhelming. What part do you feel like you're playing in the stress level for yourself?
I complain a lot.
Okay.
I like to complain.
Why do you feel you need to complain? Why do you complain?
I don't complain to my boss, but I complain to my coworker because I need to vent.
So when you complain and vent to your coworker, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel better because then, it makes me feel like somebody is on the same, like somebody, it's not just me. That's why. But in turn, when you complain, you're kind of, if that person's having an okay day, then when you complain about something that you're frustrated with, it kind of brings them down too. So the morale kind of goes down, because if you just sit there and complain all day about your job, of course you're not going to like your job. But it's not just me. Some days it's me, and then some days it's her, and then some days it's our boss. So,
So you take turns with complaining to each other, you
Mm-hmm.
and your coworker,
Mm-hmm.
and that makes you feel better?
Yes.
And why? Why do you think that makes you feel better?
Because I tend to internalize things and look at myself as the problem. So I'm very defensive in that way. So I try, so when I complain and somebody's like, yeah, I know, or they agree with me, then it makes me not put myself in such oh, it's your fault that all this is going wrong, or something like that. So when I complain to my coworker, it's more like venting and trying to see where other people see it, because it's bothering me that much, and I don't want to feel like I'm doing something wrong every day, or everything I do is wrong. And basically, me and my coworker are always in that position, whether it's at the same time or opposite times. We always just feel like we're doing something wrong, or we can't do anything right, and it just really sucks.
So venting is a sign of relief for you. And you said that you always feel like you and your coworker are doing something wrong. You also mentioned that stress.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that the boss's new position, or your director, that you're a part of her stress?
I kind of put responsibility on her, because she gets paid salary. That's why she's the director, So, I'm just an hourly employee. So if it bothers her that, she gets bothered if we annoy her too much, about questions or things like that. But that's her job. So I get frustrated with that, and I try to separate myself from that, her problems, she's transferring them onto me. Okay. Instead of, trying to figure out or trying to fix the problem. It's like she's just, I don't know how to describe it, but she's.
Do you feel as if, you said she's transferring her problems over to you? She's salary and you're hourly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like she's applying a lot of stress to you?
Mm-hmm.
And do you feel as if it's causing a problem because she's the director and she's paid by salary, and you're an employee and you're paid hourly?
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel like you should have the huge amount of
The burden,
responsibility
yeah,
that she's giving to you.
yes.
How do you feel that you can address that without stressing yourself out and relieving yourself of some stress?
No, it's kind of at this point, like, it really isn't much that I can do. It's kind of at that point where I'm like, I don't really care if I lose my job, because it's so unhealthy, and it's like, whenever I talk to her, it's like, she puts it back onto me, and, things that I could do better, and I've tried, to do my best, and it's just not improving, and there's so many, I'm the only person that schedules for 2 counties for home health aides, and for our whole office, and the other girl does other stuff. So I don't know how to describe it, but there's only so many things that I can do in one day. So it's very overwhelming when you have one project put at you, and another project, and another project, and another project, and every one of them is a priority. This is a priority. This is a priority. This is a priority. And it's like, as the phone's ringing 300 times a day, and it's too much.
So a lot of the stress is coming from, I hear you saying the word priority.
Mm-hmm.
Prioritizing. It seems like you don't know what to prioritize first,
Mm-hmm.
because no matter what you do, it comes back to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Your director makes it seem as if it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go to her and ask her some advice on how to prioritize?
I think she's tried. I think that she comes from like a good place. I don't think she's a bad person. I think that in the heat of the moment, during the work day, when things are just coming boom, 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 she doesn't think about what she hands you a project and then says, oh, I need this by the end of the day. Doesn't realize that she just handed you a project like an hour ago and said the same thing to you, because she's going through the motions as well. So I like her as a person. I just don't like her as a boss.
Okay, so she gives you different assignments within a short amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
expecting that you have the assignments completed,
Mm-hmm.
not realizing that she just gave you something 5 minutes ago. So in that incident, when something happens like that, she gave you an assignment 10 minutes ago, and then she's giving you another assignment, how does that make you feel?
Overwhelmed.
And when you feel overwhelmed, what happens?
I start to get really bad anxiety. And my chest starts to hurt, and I start breathing heavy, and I start getting like disorganized, and I start not being able to like process things correctly, because I'm trying to grasp everything at once, and my brain's not able to put it out and plan, because there's just so much coming at once, and it's too much. And then you have on top of the work that she's giving you, you have the phone ringing. There's 2 people answer the phone, and phone's ringing, and you're getting phone calls from my aide didn't show, I need a replacement right now. So you have those other priorities that are coming in on top of her priorities, and she doesn't realize what's going on in that moment. Okay, so the aide calls out. Okay, so let me find somebody for you. Nobody answers the phone. Then the family's calling you back, like, what's going on with the aide? Is somebody coming? I need somebody there right now.
Okay.
Right, we have to leave for work, and then they're getting mad at you.
Okay.
And it's like, now all these other things are sitting there, and then the phone's ringing, and then multiple lines are ringing, and it's, I need an aide for, this area that we don't have staff for. I need this aide, this week. What do you think you could do? And it's like, oh, hold on, let me, and then the phone's ringing, and you pick up another phone, and it's the same thing, or somebody else called out, and it's like, just continues, it's crazy.
So now let me reiterate what you said. You said that when those assignments are assigned to you, you feel overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
You feel a great sense of anxiety in your chest. And then not only dealing with those emotions or signs or stress level, then you have incoming calls from your home health aides with their stress also coming, you know, through the phone, and you dealing with having to, you know, get somebody out there to help them. So that's another stress that's